Hello, Bacho. So we are going to discuss some of the important questions of the test that you people have gave, right? So I have picked up some questions in which I can tell you some topics also, right, along with the questions. Okay, so let's start quickly without wasting much time. The first question is on your screen, which is the first question of the exam also. Okay, so let's read the question and try to understand that what is asked in the question and how to proceed for this question. Okay. So you people can just read the question for 1 minute. Okay, I hope you have read the question. Chalo, let's start to observe this question. Okay. So it is telling that a student measures the value of G with the help of a simple pendulum using the formula G is equal to 4 pi square upon LT square. Okay, where the parameters or the LT, these have the standard meanings. L means length, T means time. Okay, so this is the formula by which the time period is used to measure. Okay, the errors in the measurement of length and time are delta L and delta T. Okay, this error can be small also, big also, right? Then in which of the following cases is the error in the value of G minimum? So it is asking for which of these four options the error in the calculation of G is minimum. So there is some error in L, there is some error in T. Okay, so how to proceed for error question? We use the method of differentiation, right? It looks like differentiation method, right? So how we will do it? We have to find just a second. So how we will find the change? We will write delta G, okay? Delta G upon G is equal to 4 is constant, pi is constant, right? So we will be considering only change in length and time. So delta L upon L plus 2 times delta T upon T, because T has square, right? Now we have to calculate error in the value of G, and that should be minimum, right? So we will put the values, right? First of all, what values are given? Length is given 100 centimeters, time is given 100 seconds. Okay, so delta L upon 100 plus 2 delta T upon 100 seconds. Now we will put the values option by option to get the minimum value. Okay, so that you can try by your own also. So what we have to do, we have to put first of all first option. When I will put 0.5 in place of delta L, for example, if I try here the first option, option A, so change in G is equal to change in L is 0.5 upon 100 plus 2 into 0.5 upon 100. Okay, so approximately what will be the values if I want percentage changes? So I'll multiply by 100 also for percentage change. Okay, into 100, or I will write here into 100. Okay, this is percentage change, right? So from here 100 gets cancelled out. I'll get 0.5 plus 1, that is 1.5. Similarly, if I calculate for option B, so बच्चों option B के लिए what we'll get? We will get again length is 0.2 upon 100 plus 2 into 0.2 upon 100 into 100 again 100. So it is 0.4 plus 0.2, that is 0.6. Similarly for C option also, I'm writing it directly. You can do it directly also. So it will be 0.1 plus 2 into 1, that is 2.1. If I calculate for option D, It is 0.1 plus 2 into 0.1. That is 0.2 plus 0.1 is 0.3. So you can clearly see here that the D option is having the minimum error in G. Okay. So option D is the correct answer. Chalo. Let's move to the next question. Have a quick read of the question, then we'll do the question. Or you can pause the video also to do the question if you have not attempted this question, if you want to reattempt the question, right? Chalo, I hope you have read the question. What is the question saying? It is saying that the maximum height attained by a projectile and its horizontal range are equal to each other if the projectile is projected at an angle theta given by. So it is telling the maximum height. Bachcho, height maximum ka formula, if a projectile is projected with a speed of v, or let's say u, with a u speed at an angle theta, then what is the maximum height it will be attaining? That is u square sine square theta upon 2g. Or I also teach that you can write vertical velocity square upon 2g. Okay. Vertical velocity means u sine theta, right? So this is the maximum height. And also it is saying horizontal range. But what will be the horizontal range? For range, since the horizontal velocity, that is u cos theta, is never changing, because there is no obstruction in horizontal direction. Only gravity is doing obstructions in vertical motion. So this speed will remain constant. And for how much time will it cover the horizontal distance? For the time till it is in air, which is called time of flight. So how will find range? Range is equal to velocity into time, or specifically if I called horizontal velocity VH into time of flight. So bachcho, what is horizontal velocity in this case? U cos theta into what is time of flight? Time of flight, you directly can remember also, it is 2u sine theta upon g, or you can write 2 times vertical velocity upon g. Okay. Now it is telling that these are equal to each other if projectile is projected at an angle theta. So they are equal. Let us equate them. So it is u square sine square theta upon 2g, that is equal to 2u square sine theta cos theta upon g. Okay. So it is asking basically theta. How much is theta? So from here we can cancel u square, g, sine theta. From here we'll get cos theta is equal to 1 by 4. Or we can write theta is equal to, sorry, this is sine square theta. Okay, u square sine square theta, right? U square sine square theta. So one sine will get cancelled out, not both sines. So here modification is needed. So it will be, if I take this cos on the left side in denominator of sine, so it will be tan theta. So tan theta is equal to, if I take this 2 and multiply here, it will be 4. So tan theta is equal to 4, or theta is equal to tan inverse of 4. Okay. So which is the correct answer? Option C, right? Let's move to the next question. So please read the question for 1 minute. Okay, bacho, I hope you have read the question. Let's understand how to solve this question. So it is telling the figure below shows the acceleration time graph of a particle. Okay. Which of the following represents the corresponding velocity time graph? So this graph is given, which is acceleration time graph, right? And we have to make velocity time graph, or we have to assume what is the velocity time graph out of these 4 options. Okay. So let us first of all understand what this graph is giving us the information. So if I show you that in this graph, on the x-axis is time, y-axis is acceleration. For some time, the acceleration is constant. For example, if 5 was the marking here, so acceleration is 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 for all for that whole time, right? Then after suddenly कितना हो गया वो 0, it came 0, means there is no acceleration. Then the negative acceleration means, or we can call braking happened, and that is a constant braking. So can I say this is a scenario of a car? ये car का एक scenario है. Car started with some acceleration, and that acceleration was constant. Velocity was increasing. Okay, so velocity was, if I make here only the graph, so velocity बच्चों, it has started acceleration, so velocity was increasing continuously. Okay, so velocity was increasing continuously, right? Since it is a constant acceleration, so velocity also will increase linearly. Means we know na, v is equal to u plus at. If I assume initial velocity to be 0, v is directly dependent of a into t, product of a and t, right? Okay, right. So here acceleration is constant. Okay, that is a constant value that is not changing, but time is increasing constantly or linearly. So velocity, I can say, is directly proportional to time, and this is the line which representing velocity is directly proportional to time. So this is velocity and this is time, right? Now what happened after some time? Acceleration became 0, means I took my foot from the acceleration pedal. Okay, मैंने वहां से अपना पैर हटा लिया. Now the car will move with constant velocity, assuming there is no friction. तो constant velocity से जाएगा, मतलब it will move somewhat like this. Correct. After that, brake, I applied brakes. So when I applied brakes, the velocity will decrease, but it will decrease with a constant rate. Why? Because here also velocity is directly proportional to acceleration. Okay, because acceleration is, or deceleration is constant, so it will decrease and finally the car will stop. So without looking the options, we have designed a graph. Okay, let us see which is the correct graph. So this is completely wrong. This curving is not there because velocity is directly proportional to time, right? B will be the correct answer. Okay, chalo. Let's move to next question. Okay, please read the question. Okay, so let's solve this. It is a very simple question. Okay, just have to check the options. Okay, so in this type of questions, the options are in the midway only, midway to end. So you can directly start from end. Okay, you will get the correct answer fast. So if I talk about the last option, it is telling W vector. Okay, all these are vectors only. W vector is equal to A plus B vector, right? So which is W vector? This is the W vector. Okay, which is the W vector? This is W vector. So if I go from here, A vector, and this is minus B vector. This is not B vector, right? It is minus B vector because it is in the opposite direction as per the triangle law of vector addition. What is triangle law of vector addition? If there are two vectors, they should be joined by head and tail. The resultant will be somewhat like this. Okay, so if this is A vector, this is B vector, so this will be A vector plus B vector. If this is minus B, so it is A vector minus B vector. So this is a wrong option, of course. Let's come to option C. Z vector is equal to B plus C. So this is the Z vector, which is a resultant, and that is equal to B plus C, it is telling. So if I go from here, C vector, also B is in the correct direction, so B vector. It is going head to tail, head to tail. C vector plus B vector is equal to Z vector. It is a correct option. Okay, so this is the correct option, right? Simple. Let's move to next question. Please read the question and then we'll discuss the answer. चलो, so let's see how to do this question. It looks dangerous, but it's very simple question, right? It is telling a light string going over a clamped pulley. Okay, this is the clamp and this is the pulley of mass m. So mass of the pulley is small m. Supports a block of capital mass m. As shown in the figure, the force on the pulley by the clamp is given by. So the force on the pulley given by the clamp. You just imagine there is a pulley which is tied from a string, and there is another string going towards a block. Now this block, I'm telling the feel of the question, right? This block, ये block नीचे जाना चाहेगा, ये string left खींचना चाहेगी because of tension force. तो ये इस और इसका weight, pulley का weight भी है कुछ, so this weight will try to push it down. So कुल मिला के इस पर जो दबाव आएगा, the force that it will experience will be something like this. Someone is pulling, someone is pulling, someone is pulling. So resultant will be somewhere here in between. Correct? To balance this resultant, this clamp is playing an important role. Okay? If clamp is not strong enough to balance this resultant force, then it will break. So clamp is applying exactly opposite force to balance it. Simple. So that force we have to calculate. Okay, हमको वो फोर्स निकालना है जो क्लैंप इस पुली पर लगा रहा है टू बैलेंस इट. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द मासेस, अच्छा इसका हम क्या करते हैं बच्चों, हमको निकालना है फोर्स. तो अगर हम ये वाला रिजल्टेंट फोर्स निकाल लें, यही तो फोर्स लगाना है क्लैंप को, करेक्ट? सो हम ये वाला रिजल्टेंट फोर्स ही निकाल लेंगे, एंड दैट फोर्स क्लैंप हैज टू अप्लाई, एंड दैट इज आवर आंसर आल्सो. ओके, सो इफ आई मेक द फ्री बॉडी डायग्राम ऑफ दिस पुली, the first weight is of course the weight of pulley itself, that is mg. Then another force due to this weight. Acha, since it is in equilibrium and there is a string, so I can say the string will have tension T, string will have tension T. Since there is only one string, so one tension only, एक string में एक ही tension होता है. So I can say here T is equal to mg, right? And this pulley is pulled by another force, that is T, and which is equal to mg, sorry, capital mg, right? Here also capital mg. Now again from this side also tension is pulling. Okay, tension always acts away from the body, tension which is mg, right? Now we have to find the resultant of these forces. Okay, so what will be the resultant of these forces? Resultant force, or I can write Fr, is equal to under root of, so downward, total downward force is बच्चों mg, capital mg plus small mg का whole square plus this force that is mg square. So from here we can take g common, okay, or we can take g common निकाल सकते हैं. So what will be left inside? m plus small m का whole square plus capital M square. Okay, so what will be the correct answer for this question? Option D. Okay, don't get confused, this under root is extended here also, है ना, little bit of printing mistake, right? So let's move to our next question. Please read the question, it is a good question. Those who have done very good, those who have not done, please you can try it now. You can pause the video, read the question and try it. I'll give some 1 minute. चलो, so I hope तुम लोगों ने इसको करा होगा, right? Let's see what the question is telling. So in this question there is a 2 meter wide truck which is moving with a speed of 8 meters per second. Okay, so this is that truck which is moving with a speed of 2 meters per second, okay, on a road. Now there is a pedestrian, okay, Pedestrian means a boy or a girl who is crossing the road, starts to cross the road at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay, something urgent may be there. That's why without seeing the signals and all, he is crossing or she is crossing the road. Or maybe the truck has broken the signals, right? And was going straight away. So this boy may have looked the truck and he tried to go that side. So basically understand, you can make your own story. Anyways, so a pedestrian starts to cross the road at an angle of 45 degrees, 45 degrees with the uniform speed V. When truck is 4 meters away. So truck is 4 meters away from that man. Now it is asking the minimum value of V so that he crossed the road safely. Imagine this scene and think. There is a man going on a road and truck is coming from there. Man is going in some, not in a straight path, but it is going little right. So truck is coming, man is going right. It will just escape. What is the condition when it will just escape that truck? It will be the condition when the pedestrian has crossed the road and on the same point, the truck's upper portion, in this case, this one portion, will cross that point. What I'm saying again, that minimum value of V, for calculating the minimum value of V, we should assume that when the man just crossed the road, truck just passed from him, or upper point of the truck just passed from him. Okay, so that condition we will be using in this question to do, right? Chalo. Now let's proceed. So let us say that this man has reached at this point. Okay, I hope you can see the diagram. Let's say this man has reached this point. Okay, I'm making the final diagram. Look here. So this is the road. Okay, and man has reached here. So what will be the condition at this time? The condition at this time will be the truck is just crossing. Truck is just crossing. Okay, this is man, this is truck. Fine. Chalo. So we have to write some equations. So the time required by the truck and the time required by the man is same. Okay, the time required by the man to reach that point and the time required by the pedestrian to cross the road is same. So how much time is required by the truck? So time required by the truck is equal to distance upon velocity. How much distance the truck has to travel? Truck has to travel, look here all of you, 4 meters plus this distance. How much will be this distance? Since this height is 2 meters, the road is 2 meter wide, right? And this is 45 degrees. I can say this length will be, or I can say the down length will be 2 meters by using 1045. So 1045 is equal to perpendicular, that is 2 meters upon the base. So 2 upon base. So this is 1. So base is equal to 2 meters. So bacho, this is 2 meter stretch. So total the truck has to travel 6 meters. So distance is 6 meters. Divided by what is the velocity of the truck? It is given as 8 meters per second in the question. So divided by 8. So this is the time, that is 3 by 4 meters per second. 3 by 4 seconds. Now, how much time the man took? Time took by man. So that is distance by man divided by velocity of man. And that is the minimum velocity in this particular case. If he has more velocity, then he may have crossed the truck more further, or he may have crossed the truck faster when truck has reached that point. If he has less speed, then he may have collided with the truck. Okay, but it is the middle condition, means it is almost equal. So how much the distance the man has to travel? Hypotenuse distance. But how much is the hypotenuse in this triangle? 2 is the perpendicular, 2 is the base in this triangle. 2 is the perpendicular, 2 is the base, so hypotenuse is 2 root 2. So 2 root 2 divided by velocity of man that we have to find. Now these two times are equal. Time by man is equal to time by truck. We just equate them and we'll get the answer. 2 root 2 by V. So from here, V is equal to 8 root 2 upon 3, which is approximately near to 3.76 meters per second. Okay, which is option C. Fine. I hope you understood. So it was a good question, little bit of imagination type of question. Let's move to another question. So please read the question and then we will discuss about its answer. Okay, bachcho, let's move to another question. Acha, I hope you have read the question and let's see, okay, how to do this question. Chalo. So it is telling there are two masses, M1 and M2. M1 is 5 kgs, M2 is 10 kgs. They are connected by an inextensible string, and they are passing over a frictionless pulley. Okay. Now the coefficient of friction of horizontal surface is 0.15. So coefficient of friction is given as 0.15, which is mu. Means some friction is there, the surface is not smooth, it is rough. The minimum weight of M that should be put on the top of M2 to stop it. So it is saying, of course, M1G will pull it and M2 will go with that flow. But how much weight we can put on M2 so that it will stop because of friction? So first of all, let's see how many forces are acting, right? So if I talk about, this is M1G downside, already written, upside is T. If it is in equilibrium, that means T is equal to M1G, right? So I can write here also, T is equal to M1G. Now, how much will be the force acting on these two boxes by friction? So that force will be mu mg. Mu is the coefficient of friction, that is 0.15, that I'll write later on. Mass is the total mass, m plus m2 and g. And for not moving or for equilibrium, this friction force should be equal to the tension force. Then only it can stay in equilibrium. So we'll just equate and we'll get the answer. Okay. So F is equal to mu m plus m2 G should be equal to tension force, which is equal to M1G. G से G cancelled. So from here we can get M is equal to M1 minus mu M2 upon mu. So how much is M1, bachcho? M1 is 5 kgs. If I divide by mu, then 5 upon mu is 0.15 minus M2. M2 is 10 kgs. From here we can just easily solve it. So it will be 100 by 3 and it will be 70 by 3 minus 10. 70 by 3, which is near about 23.3 kgs. Okay. So very simple question again. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Please read the question quickly. 1 minute for reading. Chalo. So I hope you have read the question. Let's see. So it is telling the displacement of a body along the x-axis depends on time as root x is equal to t plus 1. right? Then the velocity of the body is, okay. So displacement of a body is depending on time in this fashion. So it is asking velocity. We know velocity is equal to differentiation of displacement by time, correct? So we can use this relation to find. So, but it is in root, and if we differentiate root, we will again get the same parameter, right? X we will get again. So first of all, we should remove this root. Okay. So if we remove this root, we'll get X, or squaring both sides, X is equal to T plus 1 whole square. So this is done by squaring both sides. Clear? Chalo, very well. Now we can differentiate it easily. So dx by dt is equal to, it will open out as t square plus 2t plus 1. So it is 2t plus 2. Okay. Now what is dx by dt? It is velocity is equal to 2t plus 2. Here, if necessary, we can add one constant also, but that constant will be added in 2. Okay. Because it is indefinite integration. And sorry, it is differentiation. Why we are adding constant? Anyways. So this is velocity, which is 2t plus 2. And I can clearly see that velocity is dependent on time in a linear manner. Okay, this is a linear equation, right? So here we can say that the velocity of the body increases linearly with time. Okay, is independent of time? Wrong. It is dependent on time. Decreases? Wrong. Increases? non-linear, which is also wrong, right? Chalo, very well. Let's move to next question. Chalo, another good question. Okay, please read the question and then we'll discuss it. Chalo. So there is another question which I think you have done, right? So it is telling that there is a projectile. Actually, this is a question of projectile on incline. Okay. So it is telling there is a projectile which is fired at a velocity of v at right angle to the slope inclined at an angle theta with the horizontal. Okay. The range of the projectile on incline is, so there is a particle which is thrown at perpendicular with the inclined plane. Of course, it will travel like this, will hit the plane. Don't know at a 90 or not, but will hit the plane, hit the inclined plane again, and it will cover some distance on that inclined plane. Okay, so that range has to be calculated. So in this case, or in this types of inclined plane question, bachcho, what we have to do is just make it flat plane. How to make flat plane? Just divide the components of g, because in inclined plane the gravitational acceleration will be different. In horizontal direction also will be there with respect to inclined plane, and in vertical also it will be there, right? So basically what I'm trying to tell, g will be acting downwards. If it was normal inclined plane, if there is a body, g is acting completely perpendicular. But in this case, g is acting downwards, which is not perpendicular. So there is a problem. So divide this g into two components. One is of g, let's say cos theta, g sin theta. Then it will become simple. Okay. Now, how to do this question? So we have to find first of all range. Okay. So for finding range, we need two things. Okay. If acceleration is 0, then we need velocity into time, which happens in the case of horizontal inclined horizontal plane the projectile. When it happens, then this formula is done, where we put velocity as horizontal velocity, time as time of flight. But here the scene is different. Since sorry, since gravity is acting downwards, this component of gravity will give me as, this is theta, g cos theta, and this will be g sin theta. Now I can make it horizontal. So if I make it horizontal, this plane. Okay, so now G is acting, sorry, G cos theta is acting downwards, and there is an acceleration in horizontal direction, which is G sin theta. Now, if acceleration is there, then the formula, this will not be applicable for range. So for range, we have to use equation of motion. What we have to use, बच्चों? Equation of motion. जिसमें most famous we can use s equals to ut plus half at square. But for that also we need UTA. Okay. So now, if this projectile is on this horizontal plane, so how much time will it take to go up and come back? It is projected with a velocity of v. So how much is the time of flight, bachcho? Time of flight is 2v upon g, correct? But here g is not g. G is g cos theta. So we'll write g cos theta. That formula is for projectile on horizontal plane. We have converted into horizontal plane, and now we are applying the same formulas, but with different conditions, with different accelerations. So this is time of flight. Now in the same time, due to this acceleration, this particle drifted left. Maybe it is a wind, let's say. So it drifted left and it covered some distance. Okay. It covered some distance. And this distance is covered in this much time only. Correct? It went up, came down, drifted. So how much time it took to go up and come down? That much time it drifted with g sine theta acceleration. So now we can easily calculate the range. So for calculating range, we can use s is equal to ut plus half at square. Since there is no velocity in horizontal direction initially, then we can say initial velocity is 0 is equal to half. Acceleration is bachcho z sine theta into time, which is time of flight, that is 2v upon g cos theta. Okay, ka whole square. Now if I calculate this, I'll get half. G one time will get cancelled out. So sine theta upon cos theta into 4v square divided by cos theta. 2 say 2 times cancelled out, so we'll get tan theta into v square upon cos theta. Okay. So what will be the answer? V, acha, 2 is also there, right? So bachcho, what will be the answer? It will be 2 tan theta v square upon cos theta, which is not there in the option also. But I can see this looks a bit similar. Just cos theta they have written as sec theta, right? So option C is the correct answer, right? Chalo. So let's move to next question. Please read the question and then we will discuss the answer. Okay. Chalo. Let's discuss. Okay. There are two masses m and 2m which are attached to two ends of an ideal spring. Okay. When the spring is compressed, so these two masses are attached. One is m, one is double of m, that is 2m, and it is compressed. It is in compressed state. If it is compressed, means it will store some spring potential energy. So when you release it, it will try to expand with that potential energy, right? So it is in compressed state, and the energy of the spring is 60 joules. So when it is compressed, how much potential energy is stored in it? 60 joules. If the spring is released, then at its natural length. So it is saying when the spring is released, what will be the conditions or the things or the energies at its natural length. Okay. So what can we do here is we can do two things. First of all, conservation of momentum, because there is no external force acting on this system of two masses. And secondly, we can use conservation of energy, because there is no loss of energy in any form. Okay, there is no friction, there is no air drag, so there is no loss of energy. Okay, so first of all, let's apply conservation of momentum. So conservation of momentum, I am writing COM. This is not center of mass, this is conservation of momentum. So what was the initial momentum? Initial momentum was zero, because compressed and stopped. What was the final momentum? Let's say the final condition of these two balls is somewhat like this. So these two balls will be having some velocities, right? Sorry. Let's say V1 and V2 of masses m and 2m. So what is the momentum? Momentum of the first mass, that is small mass, is mv1, plus momentum of second mass is 2mv2. Okay. So from here I'll get the value of, let's say, v2. V2 is gets cancelled out, it is minus v1 upon 2. Clear? One relation we got between v1 and v2, right? Then the second relation we can find from conservation of energy, COE. Okay. So according to law of conservation of energy, initial energy is equal to final energy. Initial energy is 60 joules. Final energy is the energy of the masses with the velocities they are traveling, which is kinetic energy, right? So half m v1 square plus half 2m v2 square. So we will bring this half on the other side, 120 sorry, is equal to m v1 square plus 2m. In place of v2 we can put minus v1 upon 2, which we obtained from the first equation, right? This one we can put. Okay. So now from here I can say m v1 square plus 2m v1 square upon 4. So this will be 3 by 2 mv1 square, which is equal to 120. So from here we can put the value of masses. No, we cannot put the value of masses, but we can get the value of half mv square. Half m v1 square is equal to 40 joules. Okay. So this is what? This is basically bachcho the energy of m. Okay. This is the energy of m. And what will be the energy of 2m mass? It will be half 2m v2 square, right? So that also we can check. So we can write from here as 2 times half m. How much is v2? In place of v1, v2 we will put v1. So it is v1 square upon 4, and half m v1 square is bachcho 40 joules. Okay, so we can write 40 into 2 by 4, that is 20 joules. So energy of 2m also we got, energy of m also we got. Now we can check the answer. So which is the correct option? From here, energy of a smaller body will be 20. Wrong, it is 40. Energy of smaller, okay, B is correct. Energy of smaller body will be 10. Wrong. Energy of both bodies will be same. That is also wrong. Okay. So good question and simple question, right? Chalo, let's move to next question. So please read the question and then I'll solve it. Actually, it is also based on conservation of momentum only. So try it. Okay, chalo, let's do this question. So this question is saying that there is a body of mass 2 kg which makes an elastic collision with second body which is at rest. Okay, and continues to move in the original direction. So for example, the body was moving towards right. After collision also it is moving towards right only, but with 1/4 of its original speed. So what is the mass of the second body? Very simple question. So there is a body which is of 2 kgs moving, let's say, with a velocity of v. It collided with another body which is having a mass of m and whose initial velocity is 0. And after collision, this is the before scene, this is the after scene. After collision, what happened, bacho? The 2 kg mass started traveling with 1/4 of the velocity of initial. So v by 4. And I don't know about mass m. So I'll just write m and I'll write some u, right? Now we have to find mass m. So again, we will use conservation of linear momentum. Okay. So what is the initial momentum? Initial momentum is only of the 2 kg mass, that is 2 into v, mass into velocity. Final momentum. Okay. So final momentum is of the momentum of both the bodies, right? So let's say the first body's momentum is 2 into v by 4 plus second body's momentum is m into u, right? So from here, if I calculate, I'll get the relation between mu and this. So it will be mu is equal to 2v minus v by 2, which is 3v by 2, correct? Mu, right? So this is our first equation, right? Now coming to the second. So in elastic collision, what happens? There is no loss of energy, right? The energy is not lost. So we can do by that method also, okay, energy is not lost. So initial kinetic energy is equal to final kinetic energy, right? Or we can do by energy method is okay, but that is a long method, right? Or we can do by elastic collision concept. In elastic collision, bachcho, what happens? You can remember this, that velocity of approach is equal to velocity of separation, right? This is always equal. Velocity of approach means with what velocity they were approaching initially. After collision, they will go apart. So with what velocity they are going apart, right? So what was the velocity of approach? It was v, because only the 2 kg mass was moving. What is the velocity of separation? Since they are separating means, of course, the velocity of unknown mass is more, that is u. So velocity of separation is u minus v by 4. So bacho, from here we can get u is equal to 5v by 4. Okay. Now in place of u, I can directly put here 5v by 4 and directly the answer will come without much steps. So I'll write with red. M into u is 5v by 4 is equal to 3v by 2. V gets cancelled out 2 times. So m from here will be equal to 6 by 5. 6 by 5, that is 1.2. Clear? Chalo. So I hope you understood this question, right? Let's move to another question. So please read the question and try. Okay. So what the question is trying to ask, it is trying that the x and y coordinates of the particle at any time are this and this. Okay. So a particle is moving in xy plane, and in x direction, it is moving by this equation, means how much distance it is covering in how much time is given by this equation in x direction. For by y direction, this is the equation which is depicting how much distance it is covering in how much time, right? When x and y are in meters and t's in seconds, right? SI units they are in, the acceleration of the particle at t equals to 2 seconds. Very simple question. So if I want to find acceleration, I will differentiate velocity with respect to time. If I want to find velocity, I will differentiate displacement with respect to time. Correct? So we have to do 2 times the differentiation. That's it. We'll get the acceleration. Right? Great. Now let's differentiate the equation. So if I want acceleration in x direction, so I'll write dx by dt, that is velocity in x direction, that is 5 minus 4t. If I want acceleration, I will differentiate this velocity dvx by dt, that is equal to acceleration in x direction, that is minus 4. Okay. If I talk about y direction, so dy by dt, which is velocity in y direction, that is equal to 10. If I want acceleration in y direction, so differentiation of velocity in y direction upon time is equal to acceleration in y direction, that is 0. So in y, it has no acceleration. It has acceleration in only in x direction, which is minus 4. Okay. So option B will be the correct answer. Fine. Chalo. So let's do another question. Simple. Okay, please read the question and then we'll try. Okay. Chalo. So let's see what the question is asking. It is saying the potential difference across a charged capacitor is given by V is equal to Q by C, where Q is charge and C is capacitance. Okay, normal parameters depiction it is telling. Charge is given as 100 plus minus 5. Whenever plus minus 5 is written means it has some band. Okay, so 5 plus 5 it can go means 105 it can become the charge, and it can go minus 5, that is 95 also the charge can become. So charge is fluctuating from 95 to 105. It means to say that. Okay, the capacitance is also fluctuating. 5 plus minus 0.1 means it can become 5.1 also, it can go as least as 4.9 also. So 4.9 to 5.1 it is fluctuating, means again there is some error. Now it is asking find the percentage error on V. So if this fluctuation is there will be some error or some fluctuation in the voltage also, because voltage is dependent on charge and capacitance. So that error we have to find. Okay, so it's very simple. Let's see. So if I want the percentage error in V, which is entirely dependent on Q and C, so we know the equation is equal to V is equal to Q by C. So dV by V is equal to dQ by Q plus dC by C. If I multiply by 100, I'll get the percentages error. Okay. So what is the percentage error in Q? It is 5. You can see here, right? So it is 5 plus, which I will write one more step. So dq is 5, means the variation is 5, and q is 100 into 100 plus c is 0.1 upon 100, sorry, upon 5 into 100. So this is the percentage error in V, which is equal to the first one is 5%, second one is 2%. So it is 7% overall. Okay. Chalo, very well then. So, bachcho, these were the important questions that I felt I need to discuss with you people. And other rest of the questions were simple. Also, these questions were also simple only. The paper was simple level. So I hope you will get some of the doubts cleared with this video. And please try to solve the paper again and try to resolve your mistakes that you have done, because paper analysis is very important. And that's it. We'll meet in the next upcoming classes or videos. Till then, bye bye. Have a good day and take care.